Hello, welcome to our review of The Strain, episode 7. We are almost to the end of the series, guys. Holy, this has gone by very quickly.
This feels like it was the first filler episode.
Yeah, you kind of got through it and you're like, I was entertained, but nothing happened. So the episode opens on the most, useless scene I think there has ever been in this show.
Ever.
Besides the people meet section.
Yeah. Icorst is sitting in front of a fireplace looking at the stump hand and just kind of mopily puts it in the fireplace. I guess he's cauterizing it. I wouldn't think he would cauterize it.
What's the point?
Is he just leaking worms? Is that what it is? You'd think that would also be helping the plan.
Yeah,
infection for you. Yeah, no. He cauterizes it. You can kind of see Kelly in the background, milling about, but it's just oh.
I like that hand. F is trying to recover the black box from the plane, which is actually an orange box. Woo! Joke.
We're learning things.
Yeah. He, Dutch, and Quinlan go on a buddy road trip
out into the non-safe place, out of the safe zone. While they're out of the safe zone, they see a family being robbed, and Dutch runs out to save them, followed by F. And very angrily followed by Quinlan.
So they intervene and they save this one family, but the family takes off before they can even explain that, we're the good guys, we were just trying to help you. And then Quinlan licks his sword. And apparently the internet went wild.
Quinlan is still a badass.
Oh.
I love him.
He's walking around like he's in the Matrix movies and they're his angels.
They go into the airport, they go into one of the security offices, and while F and Dutch are looking around, Quinlan is just lazily killing off vampires, and when they all leave together, Quinlan doesn't even turn around and just shoots a vampire, and it's the most quietly badass thing I've seen in a while. I would very much like a Quinlan in my friend group.
Oh my god. So badass.
He would drop off random lines of wisdom like, civilization is a lie, and then protect me. So he would be my best friend.
Everybody needs a Quinlan.
Everyone needs a Quinlan. Of course, has a very catty scene with Eldritch because the ship has arrived. Eldritch sees the docket and is just like, I did not sign for this. Somebody forged my signature. It must have been my ex-best friend, Icorst. And he confronts Icorst about it, and he's just like, oh, Eldritch, goodbye, buddy.
I don't know why you're still alive.
Eldritch gets a lot of good zingers in because he says to Icorst, he's like, it must drive you crazy that the master still has a plan for me and he's still keeping me alive and I just can't die. And oh, there's something wrong with your hand.
And Icorst is just like, I give you the finger, but I'm missing a hand, and kind of storms off.
And he says to Eldritch, it's like, you enjoy your view of the fall of New York City and the fall of the world. Because Eldritch is pretty much failing. He is back to where we saw him at the very beginning of the show, where he's extremely sickly, he's very immobile, and he's just not in a good place.
Eldritch has only one option. He goes to check out the ship. Tries to get on the ship, can't get on the ship because somebody's blocking him, so he comes back with military support, and by the time he gets there, all the cargo is gone, whatever it was, and everybody who was on the ship is dead. He's like, fuck, I don't even know what to do. I am going to go visit my old buddy Setrakian.
Meanwhile, Setrakian and Fet are on their own adventure. Setrakian had kind of a rival who collected silver. They went to a lot of the same silver bids, and Setrakian's just like, if we're gonna build this coffin, we need as much silver as we can get our hands on. So let's go check out this guy's shop and see if he has any silver. And Fet's like, do you think he's alive? And he's like, Mr. Fet, I don't care if he's alive. I just want his silver.
In fact, I think it's better if he's not.
As they go through the neighborhood, it's the same neighborhood where Fet's parents live, and so Fet goes to check to see if his parents are alive, and he finds them both dead.
And this sets him off because we start to see in a series of flashbacks to the past. 1941, Fet's grandfather was a Ukrainian prisoner of war, and he ends up collaborating with the Nazis to kill Jewish prisoners.
It's like, if you do this for us, you will get a better bed, better food, and better clothes. Of course, they don't know exactly what they're going to be doing, and then he finds out exactly what it is, and he tries to say no.
But when they threaten to kill him too, he's like, I guess I have no choice at this point. And so he collaborates, and then you find out that years later he can't live with himself, so he ends up committing suicide.
And Fet's father shortens their last name to Fet to try and remove themselves from his father because the grandfather is seen as a stain on the family name.
So, you know, Setrakian kind of like comforts Fet about this, and he's like, they got infected and they shot themselves. Like, what else were they supposed to do? And he's like, listen, your father took the brave way out. He did what he needed to do. There was no way they were going to live. They were just going to become monsters. So look at it this way. He did the right thing.
He saved you from having to kill him.
And, you know, it probably wasn't easy, but he did it. And despite your differences with them, because the father was like, oh my god, like Fet exterminates things for a living, he's gonna be just like his grandfather, and that's kind of why they have this argument. So they kind of work through it and get to the root of, you know, Fet's relationship with your father. You're just kind of like, oh, I love their relationship.
And it's so cute because this is the first time in this entire show, and Fet points this out, that this is the first time you've actually asked me something personal. And Setrakian, crusty old Setrakian, is just like, it's the first time it kind of mattered, you know? And Setrakian made this really good point that I really liked about forgiveness being how, like, forgiveness, you're setting free a prisoner and then you're realizing that the prisoner is yourself because you're hanging on to all, like, the anger and rage and guilt. And I thought that was...
It was a really good, nicely spoken point.
And of course, Fet gets to blow up a safe. So everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. They get all the silver. They start melting the silver down to make the panels in the coffin.
Exciting stuff. So exciting. The last kind of thing that we're left with is Eldritch going to Setrakian and Fet and being like, listen, I know you wanted me to figure out the Master's new body host, but I've tried. I haven't got it yet, but, like, I'm dying over here. Like, literally dying. Let me tell you about this boat shipment I tried to track down and fucking failed at. So, got the white for me, got the white. You know what? Surprisingly, Setrakian gives it to him.
I loved how Setrakian was just like, it was probably the 3 other masters on that boat. Like,
she's like, oh my god.
Makes the jumps really quickly, like, didn't have to spend an episode, oh, what was on the boat? No, he's like, it was probably the other masters, here, have your white, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Palmer takes the white, and Setrakian tells him that when you take this, you want to do it somewhere safe because the kickback is brutal. It's a very traumatic...
for the first time.
It's a very traumatic experience. And Palmer convinces his nurse to administer it to him, and the nurse
freaks the fuck out.
Bloody eyes, like his eyes are blood red, and there's just like blood. It looked cool but horrible.
Yeah, if you were the nurse, you'd be like, yep, I'm done.
Nope, that's it. Honestly, though, if I were her, I would stay with him for now, just because he's probably the safest. It's the safest place until Icor's decides that he's gonna take justice into his own hands.
So, not a lot really happens this episode.
We're just setting up
for the ending.
Yeah.
3 more. Okay, so we will see you next week, guys.